The UK government has failed to invest in adequate sewage infrastructure and regulation, leading to frequent and excessive discharges of raw sewage into rivers and the sea. This is not only a threat to public health and wildlife, but also a violation of the environmental standards that the UK has committed to uphold. According to the Environment Agency, the level of treatment and monitoring that a wastewater treatment works, WWTW, must provide depends on the population equivalent, PE, of the area it serves and where the sewage is discharged. However, many WWTWs are outdated and overloaded, and rely on combined sewer overflows, CSOs, to release untreated sewage into waterways during heavy rainfall or emergencies. CSOs are supposed to be used sparingly, but they have become a routine practice for many water companies. In fact, a recent report by Surfers Against Sewage revealed that water companies discharged raw sewage into rivers and coastal waters more than 400,000 times in 2020, totaling over 3.1 million hours. This means that every day, on average, more than 8,500 hours of sewage pollution were released into the environment. Some of these discharges occurred near bathing waters, posing a risk of infection and disease to swimmers and surfers. The government has been accused of turning a blind eye to this problem and allowing water companies to profit from polluting. Water companies are regulated by Ofwat, a non-ministerial government department that is supposed to ensure that they provide consumers with a good quality and efficient service at a fair price. However, Ofwat has been criticized for being too lenient and ineffective in enforcing environmental standards and penalizing water companies for poor performance. Last week, the government faced a backlash from campaigners and some Tory MPs after it rejected an amendment to the Environment Bill that would have placed legal duties on water companies and the government to demonstrate progressive reductions in discharges of untreated sewage. The government argued that the amendment was unnecessary and costly, and that it already had measures in the bill to protect water quality. However, critics said that these measures were insufficient and vague, and that the government was failing to show leadership on this issue. The government has since announced a new plan to better protect England's water supplies, which includes setting up a task force to review CSO use, investing £5 billion in sewage infrastructure over the next 5 years, and creating a new statutory duty on water companies to publish data on their environmental performance. However, some campaigners remain skeptical about whether this plan will deliver real change and hold water companies accountable for their actions. The UK government has a responsibility to protect its rivers and seas from sewage pollution, not only for the sake of its citizens and wildlife, but also for its international reputation. As the host of the COP26 climate summit, the UK should be setting an example of environmental stewardship and ambition, not lagging behind other countries in tackling this urgent problem. The sewage pollution also affects the UK's reputation and relations with its neighbours, such as France, who have appealed to the EU over the UK's breach of environmental standards. France is outraged by the UK's practice of dumping raw sewage into the Channel and the North Sea, which threatens human health, marine life and fishing on both sides of the water. 3 French MEPs have written to the European Commission, asking for legal or political action to stop the UK from violating its international obligations and jeopardizing 20 years of European progress on water quality standards. The UK has a combined sewerage system that carries rainwater and dirty wastewater in the same pipes to the treatment works. When there is heavy rainfall, the system overflows and discharges untreated sewage into rivers and the sea. This problem has worsened over the years because of underinvestment in sewage systems, population growth, heavy, sudden rainfall, and more runoff from paved surfaces. The UK claims that it is still committed to protecting the shared waters and that it has made its laws even stronger on water quality than when it was in the EU. However, the French MEPs argue that the UK cannot be allowed to neglect its commitments made under Brexit and that it must respect the UN Conventions on the Law of the Sea and the protection of shared waters. The French MEPs warn that in the short term, the sewage leaks risk contaminating bathing waters on the French coast and harming marine biodiversity, fishing and shellfish farming. They also say that the Channel and the North Sea are not dumping grounds and that the UK must take responsibility for its environmental impact.